He knows my name, and oh, how he walks with me. Yes, oh, how he talks with me. Yeah, and oh, how he tells me that I am his own.
You know my name. You know just to commune with you. Oh, how you tell me I belong to you, that I am your own.
That God says I have a power. Oh, yes, I do. And I will deliver if you trust me. Trust me. Trust me. No matter what it looks like, put your trust in me. For I am God all by myself. I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. If you put your trust in me, I know it gets hard sometimes, but I want you to trust me. And even in the midst of recession, I own the cattle on 1,000 hills, and I'm able
nor shall I fear the terror by night. The God who governs angel armies has set encampments around me. Whom shall I fear? I shall not fear the arrow by day, nor shall I fear the terror by night. The God who governs angel armies has set encampments around me. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? The God who governs angel armies has set encampments around me. Whom shall I fear? 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 The God who governs. Encampments around me. I'm not afraid. All is well. All is because I know that all is well. All is well. I'm not afraid, for I cried to the Lord, and He heard me and delivered me from all my fear. All is well. Say, so I can shout about it now. God who governs angel armies has set encampments around me. Whom shall I fear? Oh.
Praise Yah for you. Glad to have you in the chat box. Turn off, yes, there you go. Glad to have you in the chat box. Praise Yah for you. Glad that you are here with us today. While the world is learning how to Shabbat, we are all Shabbating today, and we are glad that you have joined us. This is His Glory Mishkan community. If this is your first time, we praise Yah for you, and we just want to bring in the presence of Yah, bring Him into the midst of our if you're in quarantine, in the midst of it, you want Him in there with you. You want Him in there with you. Let's go ahead and go into the disciples' prayer, and then I'm going to share a couple of things with you that will hopefully be a blessing to you today. We're going to go into the disciples' prayer, and then we're going to also read 1 Kings chapter 8. We're going to read Solomon's prayer because I think that it will be helpful in this. I'm going to say it in English, you say it after me, and then I'm going to say it in Hebrew, and then you say it after me. Our Father in heaven.
Our Father in heaven.
Avenu Shabbat Shemayim.
Avenu Shabbat Shemayim.
May your name be sanctified.
May your name be sanctified.
Yid Kadesh Shemcha.
Yid Kadesh Shemcha.
May your kingdom be blessed.
May your kingdom be blessed.
V'yit Barek Malchutka.
V'yit Barek Malchutka.
Your will shall be done in heaven and on earth.
Your will shall be done in heaven and on earth.
Retzoncha yihiyeh.
Retzoncha yihiyeh.
Asui bashamayim.
Asui bashamayim.
Uva aretz.
Uva aretz.
Give us our bread continually daily.
Give us our bread continually daily.
Vetite lamenu.
Vetite lamenu.
Temidit.
Temidit.
Forgive us the debt of our sins.
Forgive us the debt of our sins.
As we forgive the debt of those.
As we forgive the debt of those.
Who sin against us.
Who sin against us.
Omecholenu.
Omecholenu.
Hatatenu.
Hatatenu.
Ka'asher anachnu.
Ka'asher anachnu.
Mohalim.
Mohalim.
Lahotim lanu.
Lahotim lanu.
Do not bring us into the hands of a test.
Do not bring us into the hands of a test.
Ve'al tevienu.
Ve'al tevienu.
Lidei nisayon.
Lidei nisayon.
And protect us from all evil.
And protect us from all evil.
Ve'shemrenu.
Ve'shemrenu.
Mikorah.
Mikorah.
Amen. 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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless your name. Hallelujah. I want to just share with you 1 Kings chapter 8. In the book of Acts, I believe it's Acts, I want to say chapter 7, somewhere around the 21st verse. I believe it is Stephen, when he's talking about the fact that Yah doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. He dwells within you. But he's also in the midst of wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, in his name, he's in your midst. Right. And so we need to encourage and to cultivate, to encourage and to usher in the Ruach in your midst, wherever you are in your midst. Some of you, I know, are accustomed to going to church on Sunday. This is where you really find out that it's not where you go, it's where you are. It's in you. Can I get an amen?
Right.
It's in you. 1 Kings chapter 8 is the prayer that Solomon prayed at the dedication of the temple. And I'm going to start. This version doesn't have, the neat little separations. So I'm going to start at verse 15. 1 Kings chapter 8, beginning at verse 15. And he said, Blessed be Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand has filled it, saying, since the day I brought my people Israel out of Mitzrayim, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there. But I chose David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. But Yahuwah said to my father David, because it has been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son, who is coming from your loins, he does build the house for my name. Now Yahuwah has established his word, which he spoke. And I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Yahuwah promised, and built a house for the name of Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, and have appointed there a place for the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahuwah, which he made with our fathers when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Solomon stood before the altar, before the slaughtering place of Yahuwah, in front of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward the heavens, and said, Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, there is no Elohim in the heavens above or on earth below like you,
Right.
guarding the covenant and loving commitment with your servants who walk before you with all their heart, who has guarded that which you did promise your servant David, my father. Indeed, you have both spoken with your mouth and have filled it with your hand, as it is in this day. And now, Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, guard what you promised your servant David, my father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours before me, sitting on the throne of Israel only. Only if your sons guard their way to walk before me as you have walked before me. And now, O Elohim of Israel, please, let your word come true, which you have spoken to your servant David, my father. For is it true? Elohim dwells on the earth. See, the heavens and the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet shall you turn to the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, and listen to the cry and the prayer which your servant is praying before you today. For your eyes to be open toward this house. I want you to pray this about the house that you are in right now. The place where you are sheltered in right now. This has become the dwelling place of Yah amongst us right now. For your eyes to be open toward this house, night and day, toward the place which you said, my name is there, to listen to the prayer which your servant makes toward this place. Then shall you hear the supplication of your servant and of your people Yisrael when they pray toward this place. When you hear in your dwelling place, this is a question. Then shall you hear the supplication of your servant and of your people Israel when they pray toward this place, when you hear in your dwelling place in the heavens, and shall you hear and forgive? For if anyone sins against his neighbor and has lifted up an oath on him to cause him to swear, and comes and swears before your slaughter place in this house, then hear in the heavens and act and rightly rule your servants, declaring the wrongdoer wrong, bringing his way on his head, and declaring the righteous right by giving him according to his righteousness. When your people Israel are smitten before an enemy, because they have sinned against you, and they shall turn back to you and confess your name and pray and make supplication to you in this house, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your people Yisrael,
Right.
and bring them back to the land which you have given to their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they sin against you, when they pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servant, your people Yisrael, for you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall give rain on your land which you have given to your people as an inheritance. For when there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence, blight, mildew, locusts, grasshoppers, when their enemy distresses them in the land of their cities, any plague, any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication made by any one of all your people, Yisrael, each knowing the plague of his own heart, and shall spread out his hands toward this house, then hear in the heavens your dwelling place, and forgive and act and render unto everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know, because you alone know the hearts of all the sons of men, so that they fear you all the days that they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Also, concerning a foreigner who is not of your people Yisrael, but has come from a far land for your name's sake, since they hear of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and he shall come and pray toward this house here in the heavens, your dwelling place, and do according to all for which the foreigner calls to you, so that all the peoples of the earth know your name and fear you, as do your people Yisrael, and know that this house which I have built is called by your name. When your people go out to battle against their enemy in the way that you send them, and they shall pray toward Yahuwah, toward the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then shall you hear in the heavens their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause. When they sin against you, for there is no one who does not sin, and you become enraged with them, and give them to the enemy, and they take them captive to the land of the enemy, far or near, and they shall turn back unto their heart in the land where they have been taken captive, and shall turn and make supplication to you in the land of those who took them captive, saying, we have sinned and acted crookedly, we have committed wrong. And they shall turn back to you with all their heart and with all their being in the land of their enemies who led them away captive, and shall pray to you toward their land which you gave to their fathers, the city which you have chosen, and the house which I have built for your name. Then shall you hear in the heavens, your dwelling place, their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you, and all their transgressions which they have transgressed against you, and give them compassion before those who took them captive, and they shall have compassion on them, for they are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out of Mitzrayim, out of the iron furnace. Let your eyes be open to the supplication of your servant and the supplication of your people Yisrael, to listen to them whenever they call to you. For you have separated them unto yourself for an inheritance out of all the peoples of the earth, as you spoke by the hand of your servant Moshe, when you brought our fathers out from Mitzrayim, O Master Yahuwah. So, and it came to be, when Solomon had ended praying all this prayer and supplication to Yahuwah, that he rose up from before the slaughtering place, or the altar of Yahuwah, from kneeling on his knees with his hands spread up to the heavens. And he stood and blessed all the assembly of Yisrael with a loud voice, saying, Blessed be Yahuwah, who has given rest to his people Yisrael, according to all that he promised. There has not failed not one word of all his good word which he promised through his servant Moshe, Yahuwah our Elohim is with us as he was with our fathers. He does not leave us nor forsake us, to incline our hearts to himself, to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commands and his laws and his right rulings, which he commanded our fathers. And let these words of mine, which I have made supplication before Yahuwah, be near Yahuwah our Elohim day and night, to maintain the cause of his servant and the cause of his people Yisrael, the matter of each day in its day, so that all the peoples of the earth might know that Yahuwah is Elohim and there is no one else. Amen. 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 Solomon may have prayed this prayer over 1,000 years ago, but it is still applicable today. We have been talking about the book of Judges, and we have been talking about how in every situation, in every time period, because the book of Judges covers a long period of time, over 1,000, 13, 15, at least I want to say over 500 years. I don't have the timeline up before me, but in every situation, Yah is looking for someone who will stand up and lead his people, someone who will remind the people of who he is, someone who will turn the focus off of the situation and turn their focus back to him. Yah is looking. You know what? We have learned in our experiences that in a time where everything is going well, you got a whole lot of people who call themselves leaders. In times that are going well, you got a whole lot of preachers, you got a whole lot of people teaching this, teaching that, teaching this, teaching. But when the rubber meets the road, who is going to turn the attention off of the circumstances and turn the attention onto Yah? Yah is looking for those he's looking for those judges. He's looking for those prophets. He's looking for those teachers. He's looking for those who have the ability, who've been through some stuff. So he ain't looking for novices. They've been through some things, and they know how to call upon the name of Yah. Some of them might be hiding in a wine press like Gideon right now. Some of them might be they might be frightened and sitting, but Yah is saying, if you can hear my voice, if my people can, if you can hear me, it's time for you to stand up and act. It's time for you to speak. It's time for you to draw the attention off of what the enemy's doing and put the attention on what Yah's doing. I heard something this week that it made so much sense to me. We talk about the plagues of Israel. You can focus on the plagues. You can focus on the fact that the flies went out. But can you focus on the fact that when Moshe prayed, the flies stopped? See, we focus on these things, but we don't focus on the, can you focus on the miracles? You can focus on the plague, or you can focus on the miracles. You can focus on the plague, or you can focus on the miracles. You can focus on what is going on here, or you can focus on, well, what is Yah doing? What is Yah doing right now? That's what he's looking for. He's looking for people who will say, this is what Yah is doing. Focus on this. Look at this. Open your eyes to this. Pay attention to this. Yah is saying, look at me. Look at me. Right. Look at me. We turn our focus inward when we get stressed out. And let me tell you something. We know that there's a lot of stress. We know there's a lot of stress. And we know that some of y'all are not used to being in close spaces with your family. And some of y'all are not doing well. Some of you are not doing well. If you have, see, this is why Yah brought us into the practice. Yah he's awesome. He's brought his people into the practice of Shabbat, so you learn not to allow all that stuff to encroach in your Shabbat. You learn how not to turn the news off, to turn this off, so you can just focus on what. Now, there's a time and a place for that, but you learn how to encapsulate yourself in his presence. And that's what Yah is wanting you to do right now. Because some of y'all are in prison. You are in your house, but you've turned it into a prison. Somebody's a warden. Somebody is just, keeping you in terror. But Yah is saying this is an enclosed space. If you allow it to be an enclosed space where my presence is here, my peace, the fruit of the Ruach, my love, my joy, my peace, you're going to have to laugh sometime. Because you know what? If you want your immune system to be strong, you're going to have to sing. You're going to have to laugh. You're going to have to lift up your voice in something else other than crying. Lift up your voice in something else other than fear. You're going to have to pray out loud. You're going to have to use your voice to allow Yah to come into your midst. And you're going to have to do it often.
Right.
I want to share with you, I have a couple of slides. Because what we don't need while we are trying to boost our immune system and keep our physical bodies in good health, what we don't need right now are mental breakdowns in the midst of where you are. And so if you could put up the slide, the first one. Those of you, particularly those of you, I've been amused by a lot of the memes that are going around of the introverts versus the extroverts, and like introverts, this is how we live all the time. But even for introverts, this is a challenging time. I put up this on. You might want to turn this down just a little bit. This post about grief, because we're familiar with grief. We're familiar with the stages of grief. And right now, even though right now you may not be grieving a person, but you may be grieving your lifestyle right now. So I wanted to show you that these are normal feelings. These are absolutely normal feelings. This is normal for you to be feeling like this right now. If you're feeling like you're losing it, if you're feeling like your mind is going, if this is what you're feeling, there's nothing wrong with that. You are absolutely okay. You are absolutely okay. If you are in shock, initial paralysis at hearing the bad news. Remember how we pray in the blessing over the men of Yah, how it says he's not afraid, for he is never shaken. When it talks about, I don't see that one. Was he's not afraid of bad news? You know what I'm talking about? Talk back to me. He's not afraid of bad news. Here it is. He is not afraid of an evil report. His heart, Lev, is steadfast, trusting in Yahuwah. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be nervous sometimes. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be worried sometimes. That happens. But what it does mean is that you take that and you put it in Yah's hands. You take that to Yah. I know me personally, a lot of times when something bad hits, it takes me a minute to be able to pray because I can't get my words together. And so sometimes I just have to sit there. Sometimes I just have to sit in his presence. But you've got to move beyond the initial. You got to move beyond that. What is that word, Karis, there next to denial? Trying?
Yes.
Trying to avoid the inevitable. Some people are in a phase of denial. And that is perfectly normal. That is perfectly normal to be in a phase of denial. But you can't, the problem is if you get stuck in one of these stages. If you get stuck in shock, and you're stuck in paralysis, you're not going to do yourself any good or anyone else any good. If you get stuck at trying to avoid everything. Now, like I said, sometimes I do have to turn off the news. Sometimes it is overwhelming. But That doesn't mean that I completely stop listening to it. It means that I put a time and a place for it. Anger. Some people are angry, frustrated, outpouring a bottled up emotion. That is absolutely normal. That is absolutely normal. Some people are in that stage. Just remember, A, who or what you're angry about, and B, how you release that anger. Because if you are not accustomed to being stuck at home with your children are not the ones to take your anger and frustration out on. Your pets are not the ones to take your anger and your frustration out on. You need to find some constructive means of taking. If you got to run in place, if you got to punch some pillows, get that anger out, but don't get it out. Don't harm anyone else.
Go to the range.
And yes, if you the range is open. However you need to do it.
I looked for you.
Anyway, bargaining, seeking in vain for a way out. Well, if I could just do this. Oh yeah, if I just do this, if I just do this, maybe if I just do that. Sometimes you go through that. Sometimes you go through that. Depression. Some people are in a state of depression. The final realization of the inevitable. Depression is normal, but it does not mean that you have to stay there. It does not mean that you have to stay there. You can find some natural means to help your depression. You can find some things to help your anger that do not harm yourself or anyone else. Testing. Seeking realistic solutions. Now, this is getting somewhere. Do you have some realistic solutions? Do you have some realistic things that you can do? You know, we carry around these things in our pockets all the time that enable us to communicate with other people, and yet we don't use them for that unless we're getting on Facebook and arguing with strangers. But call a friend. Call somebody. See how they're doing. Maybe if you can just at least, if you share some ideas, maybe you can, it'll help you. But if you haven't talked to anybody, even texting or whatever. I texted my cousin this week. I texted Sister Tirza up in Pittsburgh. Texted my friend who lives 5 hours away. Text people if you don't want to talk. But at least communicate. Do not isolate yourself. You can socially distance without social distance and social isolation are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. Acceptance. Finally finding the way forward. This is where your prayer life kicks in. Asking Yah, this is my situation. This is the situation I'm in. How can I go forward? Yah is always, his ear is always open to those who cry out to him. This is the time. If you've always said, well, I would read my word, but I'm too busy. I would pray, but I'm too busy. I don't think you are right now. I think you have time right now. You think you have time? I think you have time. Let's go to the next one.
Well, why are those asterisks on shock and testing?
I took this from Google Images. I didn't actually go to the page. So if you were on this web page, if you look for this in Google Images, 7 Stages of Grief, look at it, Google Images, and you click on it, it will take you to the web page that published this, and that might tell you what those mean. Let's go to the next one. Now, while you are sheltering in place, your anxiety can rise. And I don't care how long you've been saved. I don't care how long you've been delivered. I don't care how much you speak in tongues. If you are in a situation and in a place that you have not been before, you're going to have some anxiety. That is normal. That is absolutely normal. And I'm telling you this because sometimes, particularly people people of faith, they think that their emotions are sin. Your emotions are not sin. Your anxiety is not sin. Your fear is not sin. Depression is not sin. That's not sin. You sin in doing something in that state of mind that harms yourself or someone else. That's where sin comes in. You don't have to beat yourself up if you have some anxiety. So here are some things that you can do for yourself. Sometimes it's almost like you have to talk to yourself like you would talk to somebody else sometimes. So you got to identify your negative self-talk. Some of us we've got like a whole movie reel playing in our heads. We got a whole dialogue.
A never-ending story.
Never-ending story, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on. You got to be able to identify it. You got to be able to see it. You have to be able to see what is constructive and what is negative. You have to pinpoint it. This is negative. No, that's not fruitful. This is not working. That's what discernment is. Do you know you can use discernment on yourself? Discernment is the picture illustration in Hebrew of the chaff, the wheat and the chaff, where they would put it like on a screen or on a blanket, and they would toss it up in the air, and the wind would blow away the chaff because it didn't weigh much. But the seed, the substance that would stay in the blanket or the screen or whatever they were using, you've got to be able to identify those thoughts that are chaff and those thoughts that are substance. This is why we put the word in us. This is why we read the word, so that our thoughts can line up with his thoughts, so that the other stuff that's coming through can go away because it's not of Yah. Number 2, don't play fortune teller. I was with one of my children earlier this week, and it was something just silly, just something simple. I don't remember what we were talking about, but it was kind of like, if you are familiar with the children's storybook, if you give a moose a muffin, it's like, if you do this, then this will happen. And if you do this, then this will happen. Then if you do this, this will happen. That's called overthinking. And so if you start down that cascading path, you might end up someplace mentally where you really don't want to be.
Yeah.
So you need to stop trying to overthink everything. It's fine to plan. It's fine to prepare. But you can get stuck in that, if this happens, then this happens. Then if this happens, then this happens. Then this happens. And then it goes on and on. You need to identify it. Pay attention. You know what? If you got a cell phone camera, if you're not watching this from your phone, take a picture of this so you can remind yourself throughout this week, am I talking to myself negatively? Am I talking about myself negatively? Am I allowing my overthinking to take me here, 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 here? Recognize the thought. Number 3, recognize when thoughts don't actually help. This is not helping me. This is not helping me. This is not helping me. Going down this mental road is not helping me. It's not helping me. And then give your stress a time limit. Sometimes you can be good throughout the day, and then when you lay down to sleep at night, that's when it comes. That's when all those thoughts, while you're trying to go to sleep, that's when all of that happens. You know what? Make an appointment for it. Make an appointment. Make your anxiety make an appointment for you. Okay, I'm going to allow from 3 to 3:15. I'm just going to allow myself to think all of the things that could possibly happen, all of the things, all of this, all of that, and then set a timer. When that bell rings, it's time to stop thinking that way. It's time to start doing something else. Start thinking some other way. Maybe, have you read, go through, make yourself a checklist. Have you exercised today? Have you spent 30 minutes getting your heart rate up? I've talked to y'all before. You can put the camera on me. I have talked to y'all before about your autonomic nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. I've talked to y'all about that before. See, y'all thought I was just, she's just talking about what, no. If you do not purposefully get your heart rate up for 30 minutes a day, purposefully, I don't care if you got to do, I do these videos online, Leslie Sansone, they walk in place video, I get made fun of while I'm in here. Well, that's just fine because my heart rate is going up. They're talking about me when I do it, but your heart rate is going up. What that does is when you intentionally bring your heart rate up, your body will say, okay, now it's time for the cool down. And so now what you've done is all of that extra pent up anxiety, because what you've done is you put, when you don't do it intentionally, when you don't exercise, your heart is beating rapidly anyway because your mind is going in all these places. But it never goes through cool down. It never comes back down. And so it's just constantly. You have to purposefully bring your heart rate up so that you can bring your heart rate down. Now, if you already have heart problems, sit down. Ain't talking. You can get. You know what? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be cardio. It could even be strength. If you don't have weights in your house, get some canned goods. Get something. Lift your dog up and down. I've seen a friend of mine. Her son is. He does. I forget what you call it. It's like American Ninja type stuff. So he's back home. So he's taking his younger siblings, and he's doing push-ups with them. They have become his weights. Be creative. So because you know what? As you are creative, it will make you happy. You'll smile at yourself. Look at me. Look how resourceful I am. Look at what I can do. Look, I know I can do. That will help you. That will actually help you in this season. Find your creative self. Find your creativity. Paint something. You know that box that you got in the corner, that closet you need to clean out. I got a whole lot of stuff I need to do. Listen, I am not lacking for things to do right now. I am not lacking for things to do. The thing is I got to make a schedule and do it in order. But make sure that you are drinking enough water, because dehydration also increases your anxiety. Drink water. Exercise, read books, print material, something other than all the visual images. That's a whole nother story. I'm not even going to go there. I am in the process of taking my teaching online, and this might actually end up being in something. We'll just have to see what y'all is doing. But as we're talking, we're going to go ahead and say I wanted to encourage you and strengthen you, and make sure, as I'm saying, to communicate, make sure, like our Facebook page, our email address is info@hisgloryhamishkhan.com. You can go to the website and communicate with us there. Communicate. Social distancing does not equal social isolation. Talk to us. If you need somebody to talk to us. Find a way to communicate with us. We'll find a way to communicate with you, because we don't want you to be isolated. We don't want you to be depressed. We don't want you to, like I said, those are normal, but we don't want you to stay in that stage. And so sometimes we got to deal with ourselves first, right? The priest has to deal with himself first, then he can give out to everybody else. But you got to reach out. You got to communicate. We praise Yah for our kahal in Kenya, and we are praying for them as well. Our kahals in Kenya, more than one. We are praying for them as well. We are praying for our brothers and our sisters in India, and we are praying for our brothers and sisters in the Philippines. We are praying for our brothers and sisters all over the world, and we want to continue to keep in contact with them, continue to pray, because Yah has done miraculous things in our prayers in the past for those who had to isolate and quarantine, and we saw what Yah did with that, and we believe that he's going to do miraculous things right now. But we've got to put our mind and our eyes on the miracles and not on everything else. Amen? Amen. Amen. So I'm going to read the blessing over the Shabbat, and then we're going to read the blessings over the men of Yah. So I'm going to, the blessing over the Shabbat reads as thus. Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehiot or legoyim v'natan lanu et Yeshua Meshiachenu o haolam. Blessed are you, Yahuwah, our El and King Eternal, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to be a light to the nations, and who gave us Yeshua, our Messiah, the light of the world. You go with Ella. I'm going to bless Trey as we bless the men of Yah. Amen. I'm gonna get to bless my son today. My husband is just tied up at just a moment, but I'm gonna get to bless my son today as a man of Yah. This is a first for me. Hallelujah. Okay. Y'all know I get excited. I'm so happy to have all my children in the house today. They were asking me a question today, and I told them to take turns. And one of them said, well, Mom has just reverted all the way back. Okay. All right. So the blessing over the men of Yah. Stand a little bit closer so I'm not leading. The blessing over the men of Yah. Are you available? No. Okay. The blessing of the men of Yah reads as thus. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and he meditates on his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, on whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind, ruach, blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the way of the righteous, the direct Zadakim, but the way of the wrong comes to naught. Praise Yah. Blessed is the man, Ish, who fears Yahuwah, who has greatly delighted in his commands. Mitzvot. Mighty in the earth shall be his seed. The generation of the straight ones, Yesharim, shall be blessed. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness, Zedekah, is standing forever. Light has risen in the darkness to the straight ones, Yesharim, those showing favor, the compassionate and the righteous. Good is a man, Tov Ish, showing favor and lending. He sustains his matters in right ruling, Mishpat, for he is never shaken. The righteous, Zadik, is remembered forever, Olam. He is not afraid of an evil report. His heart, Lev, is steadfast, trusting in Yahuwah. His heart, Lev, is upheld. He is not afraid while he looks on his adversaries. He scattered abroad. He gave to the poor. His righteousness, Zedekah, is standing forever. His horn is exalted with esteem, Kavod. The wrong one sees it and shall be vexed. He gnashes his teeth and shall melt. The desire of the wrong ones does perish. Blessed are all who fear Yahuwah, who walk in his ways. You shall eat the labor of your hands. Be blessed and let it be well, Tov, with you. Let your wife, Isha, be as a fruit-bearing vine within your house, your sons, Benin, like olive plants all around your table. Look, so shall the man be blessed who fears Yahuwah. Yahuwah shall bless you out of Zion, and let you see the good of Jerusalem all the days of your life, and let you see your children's children, B'nai Benin. peace, shalom, be upon Yisrael. Amen. Amen. Well, stay right here. I'm going to go ahead and read the blessing over the sons. And then the girls are going to come up. And we'll do the blessing over the women together. Yes?
I'm not her husband. It's weird.
We got this. So, okay. I am going to be blessed. My daughters are going to come up here with me. So, may Yah make you, son, like Ephraim and Manasseh. May Yahuwah strengthen your hands and be a help to you when you call Korah. May you be beloved of Yahuwah and protected by him. May you always be abounding in the favor, chaim, of Yahuwah and his blessings. May your mouth speak with wisdom, chokmah. May your heart, lev, meditate with reverence. May your hands do the work that Yahuwah has given you. May your feet hasten to follow the path direct that Yahuwah has laid out for your life. Chai. May the Ruach of Yahuwah, the Ruach of wisdom, Chokmah, and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah be upon you. Amen and amen. That's my boy. Mwah. Love him. That's my baby. Okay. Now, my girls. Praise Yah for my girls. Please do not do me like you do your father. Mommy is not a playground. Oh, yes, gentle with mommy. Gentle with mommy. All right, fine. Okay, why are you holding that? Okay. Okay, if
I didn't know she was going to read
if
it.
I'm reading it, I have, are you going to read the blessing of the women?
I can.
Yes, you read the blessing of the women.
I think that's what I am.
Okay, all right.
Tell me that I am.
She's a woman. Y'all pray for my girls. All right.
Who does find a capable woman, Eshet Chayil, for she is worth far more than rubies. The heart love of her husband shall trust her, and he has no lack of gain, shalal, booty, spoil, or plunder. I've never seen this before.
You're not allowed.
She shall do him good, tov, and not evil, ra, all the days of her life. She shall seek wool and flax, and with delight she works with her hands. She shall be as the ships of Tarshish. She brings in her food from afar. She also rises while it is still night, and provides food, teref, for her household, and a portion for her girls. She shall consider a field and buy it. From her profits she shall plant a vineyard. She shall gird herself with strength, and strengthen Amatz, her arms. She shall taste when her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out by night. She shall stretch out her hands to the distaff, and her hand shall hold the spindle. She shall extend her hand to the poor, and she shall reach out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is dressed in scarlet. She shall make tapestry for herself. She is dressed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She shall make fine linen and sell them, and shall give girdles for the merchants. Strength and splendor are her garments, and she rejoices in time to come, Yom Aharon. She shall open her mouth with wisdom, chokmah, and on her tongue is the Torah of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children shall rise up and call her blessed, her husband too, and he praises her. Many daughters have done nobly, but you have risen over them all. Loveliness is deceptive, and prettiness is vain, but a woman who fears Yahuwah is to be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Amen.
Amen. So proud of my girls. They are just so, and my son, they're so handy, and they are skilled, and every time I turn on my sink, I think about how my son put that in for me, and my girls, they have their knitting, and you got knitting?
I didn't bring it with me, but
Oh,
yes.
Okay, yes. I know you, we went out and we got our yarn. So we're good to go. So blessing over my girls. Karis, bring your arm. Where's your arm?
Right.
Okay, all right.
You can't feel.
So, so a blessing over my daughters. May Yah make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, who causes your whole life, Chai, to be fruitful. May Yah's full will for you be accomplished in your life, Chai. May our Abba instill in your heart his love and reverence. May he give you faith, kindness, chesed, and the passion to follow after Abba wholeheartedly. May all the people know of certainty that you are virtuous, Chayil, daughters. May your mouth speak with wisdom, your pay speak with wisdom, chokmah. May your heart, lev, meditate with reverence. May your hands do the work that Yah has given you. So proud of this one, going out and working in a food pantry in this season. May your feet hasten to follow the path direct that Yahuwah has laid out for your life, your chai. May the ruach of Yahuwah, the ruach spirit of wisdom, chokmah, and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge, and the fear of Yahuwah be upon you. Amen and amen. 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 Praise Yah. I am going to save the blessing when if Moray is not if he is still tied up. I'm going to save the blessing for him to do later. We are going to look at. We're doing things a little out of order today. I wanted to look at. I didn't get a chance to, but I wanted to look at in the book of Judges. We're going to look at Gideon. If you open up Firefox and find the history, there's a Bible app that's there. So we're looking at the book of Judges, and we're going to look at Gideon so that we can see what Yah may have for us in this season. And remember, so we're not necessarily going in order of the judges, because we know that they were not, and this was new. It was new to me to find out that the book of Judges was not consecutive, or that the judges in the book of Judges were not consecutive. Some of them overlapped with others, and later on, maybe next week, we read. If we read in the book of Judges today, and then maybe go back to Deborah at another time, then we will pull the timeline up again so we can see where they fit. We're in the book of Judges. I'm trying to find the chapter 6, Judges chapter 6. Let's see, Judges. I hope you have your word. Did you switch it? Okay, all right. Judges chapter 6. Okay. Our previous producer is back and is able to do things that I haven't been able to do. I wasn't able to get that up. So, hallelujah. Okay, so we're in book of Judges chapter 6, beginning with verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah gave them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. For 7 years, because of what the children of Israel had done, their punishment was to be given into the hand of Midian. And the hand of Midian was strong against Israel. And before the faces of the Midianites, the children of Israel made for themselves the refuges which are in the mountains, and the caves and the strongholds. So because of the difficult circumstances of what they were under, they developed refuges, safe places, safe houses. We could think of them. I'm currently reading a lot of World War II fiction, and I just finished like a spy history, a book of the history of Cold War spies. So they established these safe places, these strongholds, places where they could hide from the enemy, hide from Midian. And it came to be whenever Yisrael had sown, that Midian would come up, and Amalek and the people of the east would come up against them and encamp against them and destroy the increase of the soil as far as Azah, and leave no food in Yisrael, neither sheep, nor ox, nor donkey. So they were waiting for the children of Israel to sow their seed, to plant the seed, and waiting for that to happen. And then as soon as they put the seed in the ground, as soon as they planted it, there they come to steal and to take their necessary food from them. For they came up, verse 5, for they came up with their livestock and their tents, coming in as numerous as locusts. Now, haven't we seen locusts in the news today? We know more Elijah. And they came, and their camels were without number, and they came into the land to destroy it. Now, remember that they were supposed to drive the enemy out of the land. But because they did not do that, there the enemy was, right there, in order to take from them. Where am I? Verse 8? 6. Oh, okay, you brought it up. Thus, Yisrael was brought very low. They were sad. They were depressed. They were anxious. They were fearful because of Midian. And the children of Israel cried out to Yahuwah. They did what?
They cried out.
They cried out. Now, like I said, sometimes when I get in a difficult situation, I get quiet. But there's a time to be quiet, but there's also a time to cry out. And so they cried out. And it came to be when the children of Israel cried out to Yahuwah because of Midian.
Okay.
Thank you. Because of Midian, that Yahuwah sent a prophet to the children of Israel who said to them, thus said Yahuwah, Elohim of Yisrael, I have brought you up from Mitzrayim, and I brought you out of the house of bondage, and I delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrites and out of the hand of all your oppressors, and drove them out before you and gave you their land. That's a strategy right now. That is a strategy. What is he telling them? What is he telling them to remember? He's basically coming with his resume, right? I have done this for you. I have done that for you. I have done this for you. I have done that for you. When you were in this situation, I brought you out. When you were in this situation, I brought you out. When you were stuck in this problem, I brought you out. He's reminding them to remind themselves, to stir up their own faith, to stir up that gift that is within them, that memory. Because, see, we get forgetful. We forget all that Yah has already done for us. So this too shall pass. But we've got to remember what Yah has already done for us in the past. That's what he's telling them to do. In verse 10, and I said to you, I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Do not fear the mighty ones of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. Notice that he's not saying in your land, because had they put the enemy out, it would have been their land. But you dwell now, because you dwell with them. You dwell you're dwelling in their land. And you have not obeyed my voice. Verse 11. And the messenger of Yahuwah came and sat under the terebinth tree, which was in Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, while his son Gideon threshed wheat in the winepress to hide it from the eyes of the Midianites. So he was in the winepress threshing wheat. The winepress, the purpose of the winepress is to press wine, right? But he was in there pressing, he was in there threshing the wheat. Also pay attention to the fact that the terebinth tree is where Deborah was sitting. The terebinth tree was a place of judgment. It was a place where wisdom was dispensed. It was a place where you could go and get a word from Yah. It was a place where you could go and get a judgment on a situation. So even in Deborah, even though this is at different times, the terebinth tree was a symbol of the dispensation of wisdom. Verse 12, and the messenger of Yahuwah appeared to him and said to him, Yahuwah is with you, you mighty brave one. Now Yah will speak to you even in the midst of your self-doubt. He will call you by how he sees you. You see yourself one way. He sees you another way. He's saying, so even while Gideon is hiding in the winepress, he's hiding so he can get some wheat so his family can eat before the Midianites come and take it from them. And that's another thing. You don't tell everybody what you got in your house. You don't tell everybody what you have. The scripture says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing.
Don't tell them, Brother George.
You're talking too much. You're getting out on social media and telling everybody everything you got. Shut up.
Watch out. Oh.
Keep it to yourself. You open up, you know what, some of us, we get ourselves in trouble because we don't know how to keep our mouth shut.
Shut it up.
Be quiet. You don't have to tell everything that you have. Keep it to yourself.
Whoa.
And what is Yah doing? Yeah, because see, so many times in the scriptures, Yah says that if you will pray in secret, I will reward you openly.
Right.
Yah can move in that secret place, but when you open up the doors, you're just exposed. You let everybody see everything going on. You're just exposed. Be careful about what pictures you show everybody. And we talk about like that false image. Well, I'm not going to show you a picture of myself crying. I'm not going to show you myself up unless I'm crying tears of joy. I'm not going to show you all of that. So if you're only looking at us, the only pictures you ever see is we're smiling, you might think that that's how we live all the time. No, that's not reality.
Right.
That's not reality. So you can't be jealous and envious of somebody else's Facebook page or Instagram. Well, they look like they're just doing good. I'm just over here. No, they're living just like you are. They're just not telling you everything.
This is good, Mama Sandy.
Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. And Gideon said to him, so he says, Yahuwah is with you, you mighty brave one. Now we think, well, how is he brave if he's hiding? He's just exercising wisdom. You can still be brave and still be hidden. And Gideon said to him, oh my master, if Yahuwah is with us, why has all this come upon us? Some of you are right there, right now. That verse right there. Why has all this come upon us? Why? Why? I remember when, right after our oldest daughter passed away, that, they used to tell you in the church, oh, you don't question God. You don't question him. Don't question him. And so I was brought up with that training. I was brought up with that. And so I didn't initially. I did not. And I held on to the question. The question was in my heart, but I couldn't let it come out of my mouth. I could not. And all these things came upon Job, and Job worshipped and charged Yah not foolishly. All of that scripture, see, that's what happens when you immerse yourself in the word. When you get in trouble, scripture is all that comes out. And so all this scripture, but you have to rightly divide the word of truth. You have to know which verse to apply in which situation. And so all of that came in, and I remember on the third day, something about that third day, I was making the bed, and I sat down, and I said, okay, all right, I've been carrying this question long enough. I've been carrying it around with me. I've been holding it, but I didn't want to let it come out of my mouth. I've been in the midst of people, but I didn't want to blow my cover. I didn't want to just spill everything that I'm thinking, everything that I'm feeling in front of them, in front of my family, in front of all the people who came to support us, who came to the funeral. I'm just holding on to it. But when I was by myself in the room and I was making the bed, I said, okay, why me? Why did this happen to me? And he didn't even wait. He didn't even hesitate. He was waiting for me to ask it. He said, why not you? What makes you think that you are so special that tragedy or trouble or tribulation
This is good.
or anything else can happen to them,
This is good.
but not to you? He never promised that we would never experience trials and tribulations.
Right.
He never promised that. What he did promise us is that as you go through the water, I will be with you. He promised, lo, I am with you always, even into the ends of the earth. Your reward is his presence. Your blessing is his presence.
Come on.
That's where, while you're saying, why has this come upon us? You need to be saying, thank you, Yah, that even while it has come upon us, you're with me. I'm not alone. I am not alone. I am not alone. I am not forsaken. I am not without. And begin to count your blessings. Begin to count all the things that he has blessed you with.
Right.
Because that way, we're prideful. We think that, well, nothing can happen to me. Nothing, tragedy doesn't happen to me. I'm one of his special ones. I'm one of his favorites. No, no, it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. And even as a nation, we look at other nations going through things and we think, well, that will never happen to us. We're special.
Look.
Yah is trying to allow us to, okay, I hate using that term because we don't want Yah to humble us. But guess what? He does do that.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't every father? Doesn't every parent? Don't every now and then, don't your children get a little high, they start smelling themselves? They start thinking they grown while they're eating your food, while they're turning on your lights, while they're, you start feeling as if nothing could ever happen to you. Yah is saying, I got news for you. Stuff happens to everybody. Trouble happens to everybody. But everybody who goes through trouble doesn't have me to go through it with them. If you have Yah to be with you in trouble, how blessed are you? How blessed are you? So Yah was with Gideon. He was with him. And so it says, why has all this trouble, all this come upon us? And where are his wonders? Where are all his wonders, which our fathers related to us, saying, did not Yahuwah bring us up from Mitzrayim? And where are all these testimonies? Where are all the miracles? You got to remember the miracles. Like I said, we focus on the plagues. We don't focus on the miracles. Go back and read Exodus again. And instead of just focusing on the plagues, go back and see every time Moshe fell on his face before Yah. Every time Moshe cried out to Yah, see what Yah didn't do. See what Yah didn't do. See, because the enemy wants to shift your perspective. He wants you to change your mind about who Yah is in the midst of tribulation. But you've got to remember, I remember when I went through this, and he brought me through. I remember when I went through this, and he brought me through. I remember how Yah prepared me for stuff that I didn't even know was getting ready to happen. I was thinking about that this week. Things that are closed down that Yah allowed us miraculously in 1 month's time to put it together so we could go just a couple of months ago. Help your father out. Okay, so, all right, so,
I really don't.
and Yahuwah turned to him and said, go in the strength of yours, and you shall save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent you? While you are being fearful and while you are scared and while all of this is happening, remember who Yah is.
Right.
This is the time for the testimonies.
Right.
This is the time for you to say, oh, I remember when Yah brought me through this.
Right.
I remember when Yah brought me through that. I remember this is the time. Somebody needs to hear it. You need to find a way
Come on,
to
Brother
publish
George.
the good news.
That's it.
Publish the good news. I don't
Come
care
on,
if you got to
Kentucky.
open up, get a blog, if you got to open up Facebook, do a Facebook Live, but you need to remind
American
people
Melanie, listen,
that Yah has brought us through
Listen.
things before, and this too shall pass.
Yeah.
So he said to him, you know what, I don't know, do I need to go on, or do you need to? Okay, so I'm going to turn it back over. We haven't done the offering. We have not done the Aaronic blessing. So I'm going to turn this back over. We have done the blessing over the Shabbat. I'm going to turn it back over to Morey and just praise Yah. But I want you to remember, begin to publish the testimonies. Tell of the goodness. Tell of how Yah is still healing. Tell how he's still delivering. Tell how he's still providing. Those testimonies are still needed right now. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Those testimonies are still needed. I had to be vacant for a moment because I just had a new AC and heating system put in last week, and then this morning it was a little cool, so I had the heating part of that on, and I heard it click off and on around 4 o'clock this morning. I said, oh, the heater's kicking in. And then when I came down earlier this morning, I'm like, it's a little cool in the house, Elder Nelson. Let me go see what's going on. And the new digital screen was off. So I'm like, I'm pushing buttons. I'm walking around making sure all the breakers have not tripped, and none of them did. I went outside, checked all of that, nothing. So I called him. I called the repairman, because spending all of that kind of money, this stuff better work, because we're going to be in the 90s coming up this weekend. You know, 1 minute we got on the furnace, then the next minute we're going to have on the AC. So he came out, and basically it was just a connector in the box where you pull out that metal thing and stick it back in. So he bent it back up and stuck it back in there and wiggled it and tried to pull it, and it didn't cut off. So that was the only thing, bless Yah, that it was just a connection, that everything else was fine. Equipment is fine. Remember how Maura, when the old system was in, I would go in there and put that piece of stick up in there and it would dum, 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 dum. That's what it was. It was that box with that
So you still
that
have to
thing.
do that now?
No,
Oh.
he corrected that. So
Okay.
bless y'all, the furnace came on because it was 68 degrees. I came down and I have it set for 71, and I'm like, is it still on? And I went over to the thermometer, it was 71. I'm like, that was like 3 minutes. This new system ain't joking. But it better work. Amen. It better work for all that money being spent. It better work. All right, at this time we're going to go ahead and sing the Aaronic blessing and the Shema. After this, we will go into the offering on how to sow here. Now, we realize a lot of people are basically quarantined in. When Maura had the 7 stages of grief up, that was a good thing. I didn't know what those asterisks were. I already know the 7 stages of grief. Come on, y'all, we've been there, done that. But I was just wondering, why did those two, the first one and then the one for testing, why those 2 asterisks were there? But what I understand is I like to be prepared. I do get anxious. See, I'm not going to sit and fake it. I do get anxious. I do prepare. But my thing is, in all of this, is that my anxiety is not running out of toilet paper. My anxiety is the way that things are happening and the play up for all of this, and I'm kind of standing back trying to keep myself grounded to where it's just played up, played up, played up. That's all the news. There's more news besides that. I'm not negating the people who are sick. That's not it. But it's just that everything is focused. So we're all in the same bubble now. We're all focusing. I don't want to get near you. You're contagion. You're this, you're that. And just 2 weeks ago, we was all huggy, buddy, buddy. Now, stay away from me, stay away from me, stay away from me. I'm not concerned about that. I still exercise wisdom in the process, but here's the thing, people, here's the thing. We see in the worldwide situation that maybe 500 people have died around the world.
No.
How many? Give me a number. Give me a number.
8,000 or 9,000.
8,000 or 9,000 have died.
10,000.
Okay, let's say 10,000 have died around the
11,000,
world.
11,000.
Okay, 11,000 have died around the world. How many countries are in the world? So when you take that and you divide it out, that's actually not a high number for every country or area. Here in the U.S., I don't know how many people have died from it. I know a couple have died in the last couple of days from it. But when you take the regular MERS, SARS, Spanish flu, and all of those other flus that have hit us every year, their numbers are higher than what this is. So all you have to do is read things, but it's played up to a point. Yes, we understand the seriousness of this, but it is such, it's like a repetitive motion. You keep hearing it, you keep hearing it. Next thing you know, you're hypnotized into it. And I'm not doing it. That's my anxiety. I'm not getting caught up in that. When I went to the store and people are stocking up on toilet paper, I'm like, I said last week, what does toilet paper have to do with corona? That's not in your bottom, it's in your respiratory tract. So what we see is, and Maura probably knows the term, I read it and I don't remember. It's when you see somebody doing something and then you're repeating it, and they had a name for that. So because the toilet paper...
It's what you're talking about, like lemmings, but there's a word.
Yeah, there's a word for that because you're seeing people do it.
It's like a copycat.
Yeah, that's not the word they use, but it's something psychosomatic where, oh, I better do this too or I'm going to be left out. It's like, I better get in on this because if I don't, I'm going to miss it. Well, if you go back and you read the news back ago, that toilet paper crisis started in Japan. Then it landed over here in the U.S., so everybody's buying up toilet paper. One of my stores I read today was, or that was last evening, they said, you cannot, because you like to return stuff after you go on your buying blitz, then you realize, ooh, I made a mistake. Let me go take this back and get my money back. But my store, Costco, said, you ain't bringing no toilet paper back. You ain't bringing no napkins. You're not taking any paper towels. We're not taking this stuff back because it's been in your home. And I said, right, rock it, Costco. Because if that had been wisdom from the beginning, they would have never had to put that out. We would not have shortages throughout supermarkets, Targets, Walmarts, all these other stores that you buy a lot of things from. People were just mass hoarding. There's even an application that shows you if you have 4 people in your house and you have 4 regular size, I get mega rolls, okay? But if you have 4 regular size of toilet paper, it would take you 32 days to finish that. 4-pack. How many packs y'all got? 25, 24 pack rolls? It's going to take y'all 3 years to go through that toilet paper. So let's just start thinking, like I said, that's where my anxiety comes up, because if I'm trying to go to get something that I normally go to get, I can't get it because the shelves are empty, and that irritates, because it's like we're panic buying, and it's not really get your necessities understood. But it's right there. But when you go on a mass shopping spree, then that makes it harder for other people to get the things that they need, and especially our elderly citizens that can't even get to the store, and you're buying everything out that they can't even get them. So I think the store should just set up, okay, we got an hour and a half for our senior citizens to go in here and go shop without being bum rushed by everybody just buying up stuff just to say I got something. I'm not buying, listen, I was in the military 20 plus years, and we had to do those type of exercises, okay? No, I did not go out and buy meals ready to eat or MREs. I didn't go out and stock up on all of that. Are we going to go into a quarantine or a nationwide lockdown? Oh, that's coming, because we've been stair-stepping to it already. Now, when we get to that, then everyone's really going to be going crazy because the National Guard's going to be around. So use wisdom, people. All they're trying to do is contain the spread. And once this is passed, and the music that was played during the worship time, this is only a test you're going through. Going to be over real soon. Just have faith. Keep the faith. For it's only a test. Always keep supplies.
Amen.
So I don't have to run out and... Now, eggs and things, you know, I like to eat eggs. Yeah, I'm going to have to go out and buy me some eggs, all right? But the store's only limiting to 2 cartons. That's fine. I'm not trying to buy 8 cartons. What you going to do with all them eggs? You can't freeze them.
The chickens are still laying them.
The chicken... Oh, my gosh.
You can freeze eggs. I found that out.
What?
Yep.
And they'll thaw out and won't be jacked?
Yep. I bought an egg cookbook.
I did not know. I didn't know that you could freeze eggs.
Mama and Papa Jimmy.
I ain't know about all that. I'm like, yeah, I might have to buy some more, but no, I ain't doing all that. My egg supply is good, Elder Nelson. I can handle the eggs.
I'll give you my portion.
Yeah, I'm good with the eggs. But people of y'all, let's just use wisdom. Don't let. Now I know one of the things that I want to do is keep your tank full, keep your gasoline tank full. Gas is cheaper now. Hallelujah. But let's also pray and remember all of the restaurant workers, the service industry workers, all of these people who are being laid off because it's just crazy.
Right. And some of you may have also.
You may have lost your positions and all of that kind of stuff. It's going to rebound, but we have to go through. See, when you've already been through some things with Yah, and you can go back and look at our archives from years past, when I used to talk about my wife and I, you know how you have them rolling pins, if y'all ever seen people baking and making a pie crust, you know you have to roll the dough out and flatten it. Well, I said, well, we're like the rollers that instead of one roller, there's 2 rollers. We just happen to be in the middle, and the rollers have spikes on it. We're going through the rollers being flattened and punctured. Going through the press and coming out on the other side still alive. We're still here.
Amen. Amen.
But trust Yah to help you to go through it. I'm trusting Yah on this. It's just the other things that get me wound up. It's like, why? I can't get the things that I need. Then I start getting, well, what does that have to do? So the first thing was the toilet paper. I'm like, people, you still going to be able to wipe yourself. And you know what? If you do run out of toilet paper, think of some other things you can use. As long as your soap and water haven't been cut off. Well, there are other countries that don't have everything we have here, and they use what's attached to their bodies.
But they're blocking up the sewer system with paper towels.
Yeah, they're blocking up and all of that. So you still have to use wisdom. Why don't you pass this service on to your family and your friends? You know, we're just going to be real with you. You know, the preppers that they said, I read an article 2 days ago that the preppers are kind of sitting back just chilling it because they've all had, and they're not doomsday preppers, they're just prepped. You know, one of the things that the Boy Scouts used to say was, or was that the Girl Scouts? One of them scout groups said, be prepared. Be prepared. Oh, so that's for all of them. Be prepared. What does that mean? And I ain't talking about the song from the Lion King, be prepared, boo, 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 boo. Being prepared means, is that something before or after? What is that?
It's before.
It's before. So if you're prepared before a situation, when the situation falls, you're not out trying to react to the situation. You've already been proactive to be prepared. But here we don't teach you how to be prepared. We teach you how to react. And we see that in all the lines at the stores. My daughter said, yeah, the line at the store around the building this morning. Why? Because people are reacting. When you're prepared, you can just go get what you need for that moment, not to stock up for a couple of days. Be prepared. In the time of Yah, you have to be prepared. As we go into the scripture, we're going to see that the children of Israel were prepared. They had to have their loins girded.
Right.
They had to be prepared to get out when the Ruach said, go. It wasn't like, okay, go. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let me put my pants on. Let me put on my shirt. Let me tie up my tunic. Let me slip my sandals on my feet. He said, be prepared. That means that you're already prepared. So when the door opens, you go out, just like the 5 wise and the 5 foolish virgins. The 5 wise were prepared. The 5 foolish were unprepared. And when they left to go get what they needed, the bridegroom came and they went into the marriage feast. And then when the 5 foolish came back, they're banging on the door. Let us in, let us in. He said, I don't know. You go out into the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You weren't prepared. So now everybody's trying to play catch up and stock up. Hopefully this teaches us a lesson is when this subsides, that you will be ready for the next issue that comes around and not wait for the last minute. So now we won't have lines around stores and people waiting out and standing 10 feet apart from each other. When someone farts down in the line 20 people away, that fart's going to go down to where you are. You're going to inhale it unless you got your mask on. Come on, let's use common sense, people. There's a certain mask, a N95 or something like that, that protects. Listen, watch this, people. I'm going to give you a little common sense. You ever have a vacuum in your house? You know, you vacuum. Remember them things? You can have an upright, you can have a canister, you can have a handheld. Back in the day, when we had canisters, we had canister vacuums. Some of y'all might not know what those are because you see the uprights where you just push it back and forth. The canister ones are on the ground and you had the hose on it. You remember those kind? Mm-hmm. You pull it by the hose. Okay, right, we sure did. Mm-hmm. See, back in the day, Elder Nelson, those canister vacuums didn't have what we have today is known as HEPA filters. Mm-hmm. When that vacuum sucked in that dust blew out the back of that vacuum. It just held the stuff inside of the little bag thing. So today we have HEPA filters that block a lot of the dander, pet hair, all of those kind of things, but they are not 100% effective. Your face mask is not 100% effective. It's a nice deterrent. But when you go into putting all of your faith in that face mask, right. And you go in and you put all your faith into that hand glove, mm-hmm. Your faith is in the wrong place. Right. You use wisdom. Watch this. The people in the Czech Republic, because here we have shortages of the mask. I'm not wearing no mask outside. You know, come on. Our Father has something called an atmosphere, and He knows how to mix it up. He knows how to mix it up. So don't you think that man's going to destroy it. Man might have something to do with the things that are in it called particulates. But our Father created the earth. The earth is Yahuwah's and the fullness thereof. So everything that's here belongs to Yah. He can break it up. When you said it can't be broke, Yah said, yes, it can. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to put what you think, well, a droplet is going to last this long. Abba has a way of, Elder Nelson, to mixing it up. Mm-hmm. So like I said, you can be 20 people down. If somebody farts and they got a bad intestinal tract, you're going to smell it and think, where's that sewer coming from? It was somebody else. You're going to get it. Or y'all can mix it up and say, no, you didn't smell a thing. Mm-hmm. See, He's bigger than you. Yes. So yes. I trust Him more than, well, right. You're going to sneeze. It's going to stay on this surface. It's going to do that. Do those things happen? Yes. But I still trust Yah, and I'm going to use wisdom. But when all of these things happen, we go into this mode of panic. Got to wash your hands every 2 seconds. You got to do all of this. Are you going to wash your hands every 2 seconds in your house after you've sanitized it and no one else has come in? Really? Abba has a way of mixing things up. When people come into your house, disinfect, do whatever. But after all of this is said and done, and we get back to what is quote-unquote semi-normal, are all the things that you went through during this time going to carry over to the next time? Right. Or is it going to be a thing of where we forget quickly? Because we're notorious for that. We have short memory. Mm-hmm. And we know we had to go through all of this to get to this point. That's the whole purpose of the quarantine, is to slow the progress. And the longer the quarantine is in and the less it's perpetrating out in the world, then it's dying off. So you're going to be able to get out of your house later on. Right. However, for all of the things that we've gone through thus far, are we going to carry those practices after we're able to go outside again? Or y'all going to get nasty again, go into the restrooms, do your business, 1 and 2, and walk out without washing your hands? I've seen it. I'm not making this up. I've seen it. Nasty folk. Nasty folk. I know some people will start calling them out. If I see it, I will. Go wash your hands. Who you think you are? I'm telling you because I'm not touching the doorknob behind you. You shaking hands, you're digging in your nose, you're picking in your ears, then you want to touch everybody and touch everything. Come on, let's use wisdom, people. I believe what Yah is teaching us in all of this is don't carry the same habits. Learn.
Right.
Learn.
Learn.
This is not like the 40-day fast that some people were on to say, I'm going to quit this for 40 days and afterwards I'm going back to doing what I did before, because you've just wasted 40 days.
There's a meme for that too. I hadn't
There's-
planned on giving up this month.
Yeah, you know, why? Why go through something and not mean it? Let's go through this
Right.
and learn
Come
from
on
it.
here,
So when we
right.
come out on the other side, we're not practicing the same stuff we did
Right,
beforehand.
Right.
Let's use wisdom. Let's not waste our resources. Let's be prepared. Because this is just a preview of a coming attraction, people. This is just getting you ready. He's getting ready to do some things. And don't you think that this caught him off guard.
Right.
Abba Yahuwah knows fully what he's doing. Okay? So this is the time to pray. This is the time to get close to him. This is the time to recognize he's bigger than Corona or COVID-19.
Right.
He's bigger than that. Yah is bigger than everything.
Yes, he is.
They're talking about the locusts over in Kenya getting ready to go into, they're going to bypass Israel, but they're going to go all up into the Middle East. This is the next wave of locusts. More Elijah, I know you're online. I've been reading about that those locusts are fixing to come back. Yep. Abba said, they're talking about, it's like biblical proportions with the locusts coming in. What the word says that. But the word only pulls out what they want, because any other time they ain't got nothing to do with the word of Yah. But when things start happening in a global scale, all of a sudden everybody wants to turn to the book of Revelation. Say, oh, look at what's happening. This is talked about in the book of Isaiah. There's a lot of wars that got to happen. Oh, we're in the last day. We are in the last days, but we're not in the last day. These are previews of coming attractions.
Right,
that's why you
valid.
see the things that are happening.
Yes.
Oh, that's what the word says is going to happen. And then we got people, Ruach, have your way. Ruach HaKodesh,
Yes.
have your way. There are people who try to predict now that July 25th of this year, a sect of people, I saw the lady on the news, I can't remember what it's called, but the world is going to end on the 25th of July. I'm like, are we still got stuck on stupid going on? SOS, stuck on stupid.
Taking their toilet paper with them.
They're taking the toilet paper with them to the never place that they'll never come back from. And they're doing all of these things saying the world is going to end, but yet. Say but yet.
But yet.
Say it again, but yet.
But yet.
The word of Yah says no man knows the day nor the hour. How you telling when the world is going to end? And then everyone's going to follow after me. Yeah, the world's going to end on the 25th of July. Where in Scripture does it say that? But see, watch this. For the people of Yah, that's not a surprise. It's not a thief in the night. See, for the people of Yahuwah Zavaot, it's not a thief in the night situation. Matter of fact, they're going to know when he's coming, because the Scripture says, no man knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man shall appear. But the people who follow Yah know his times and his seasons. So if you're in his calendar, you know in the fall feast, this is when things kick off.
Right.
We're coming into the spring feast.
Yes.
These are just a preview of things to come. The fall feast you better have your eyes on. There's eclipses that are going to kick off this year. Those are the things you need to be paying attention to. Not July 25th, the world is going to end. That's not scriptorial. And Yah didn't give it to these people who the wife said she'll have her husband killed. I'm like, okay, if he ain't lining up with you, what kind of ruach is that? You said, well, the Father will be pleased with me if I were to kill him. I'm like, really? Yeah, these people, these doomsayers, it's a cult, actually.
Oh.
It's a cult. He's coming back on the 25th of July. Don't get on that ship. Don't get on that train. He ain't coming back on the 25th of July. We are just at the knocking on the door of the last days, okay? We've been knocking on the door of the last days for the last 100 years. Because remember, Yah's time is not your time. Don't put a 12-month year on
Right,
Yah's
right,
calendar.
right,
He's
right.
outside of our time, okay?
Yes.
This is why you got to pay attention to the heavens and his word. He tells you everything that's there. As we transition into the sighted moon coming up at the end, around the 25th of this month, March. If the moon is sighted in the land of Israel, we have begun the first month of the beginning of the year. If the barley in Aviv or in the green is sighted, is ripe?
It's ripe.
Well, it's ripe. So then when that first sliver of that moon on the 25th of March kicks in, we are in the first month of Abba Yahuwah's year.
Yes.
That's our new year, not January 1st. That's the new year according to Yah's calendar, where he breaks down his 7 feasts in the book of Leviticus, starting at chapter 23. And then we are to count 14 days from that first sliver of the sighted moon in, and that's where we have Passover, Pesach. And then we come into right at the sundown of the Pesach, then we slide right into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Back to back. You take a left, and then what you write down, we're already in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So I'm going to get to that. I still have time. We're going to sing the Shema, the Aaronic blessing and the Shema. So stand and join us. Eric and Melanie, stand where you at. Kentucky, stand where you at. Brother George, stand up. All of y'all watching from around the country and around the world, we're going to stand in the presence of the Most High, and we are going to sing the Aaronic blessing, and then we are going to sing the Shema, to hear and obey. I want all y'all to start on key. Brother Arizona, you carry it up over there. Y'all watching from Philadelphia, we thank Abba Yahuwah for you. From Nashville, Tennessee, we're praying for y'all still, even though the tornadoes have been gone for a while. We're still lifting you up in prayer. We have not forgotten you.
Amen, amen.
We will pray. If that's all, you know what? A lot of people are good for nothing, but we're going to be good for praying.
Amen, amen.
We can't send money all the time, but we sure can send prayer. It don't cost you nothing.
Don't
See,
cost
for something that's free, you got to pull teeth to get it.
I know, right?
You know, you be trying to throw money at something. All you got to do is pray. The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. With that, let us sing the Aaronic blessings. Here we go. 1, 2. Ibarekaka Yahuwah ve'yishmerecha Ya'eh Yahuwah Hanavarecha v'kunecha Yisa Yahuwah Hanavarecha ve'assembleka Shalom. O Yah, that you would bless us indeed and enlarge our territory, that your hand might be with us, that we will be free from all pain. Yahuwah baruch you and keep you. Yahuwah make his painim to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. And you shall put the name of Yahuwah Zavaot upon the children of Israel, and he will bless us. Amen and amen. Glory to your name, Yah. Now let's sing this Shema. Here we go. Everybody start off in tune. 1, 2. Shema Yisrael Yahuwah Eloheinu Yahuwah Echad. Shema Yisrael Yahuwah Eloheinu Yahuwah Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vayed.
Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Blessed be his glorious name, forever and ever. Amen. Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Amen. Amen. Bless y'all. You can have your seat in the presence of the Most High. Quickly, we're going to show you our offering video on how to sow here into His Glory Mishkan community. We have the Pesach / Feast of Unleavened Bread coming up, and those offerings are going to help our kahals here and around the world that we cover, and More Elijah and the kahals there in Kenya, More Gampala in India, More Nini and Elder Jadal in the Philippines, and they contacted me this week. More Elijah is online now. Earlier today, because they're already asleep in India, More Gampala sent me some Shabbat Shalom slides, and I responded back. So they're doing okay. Bless Yah. Over there, that all of these things are traversing the world. But I tell you what, Abba Yahuwah's kahals is still kicking it. They are still kicking it, and they are doing well. Bless Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, because He is an awesome Yah. And we're not forgetting about our kahals there. We're lifting them. We're keeping them lifted in prayer. And He's doing some great things. Amen. So at this time, we're going to show you the slide on how to sow here into His Glory Mishkan community. Remember, ask Abba Yahuwah to lead you by His Ruach HaKodesh to sow here. Now I want to say this. I know here in the U.S., we're buying everything up out of the store. But in our kahals around the world, they don't have that luxury.
Right.
So when we sow into this, and we're going to help them with the Pesach because the Pesach is a meal, and then the Feast of Unleavened Bread is for 7 days that they eat unleavened bread. Mm-hmm. We're doing that for them. So think about that when you're sowing and you're asking Yah to lead you by His Ruach to sow here. Think about that these communities, and there's a lot of kids in them. Mm-hmm. A lot of young kids. Boy, I tell you, I just want to squeeze them all. Let's remember them. They don't have the amenities like we have here. You can stock up your pantry with 25 rolls of 15 toilet paper pieces together. They don't have it like that. So let's remember. The word of Yah says to do unto them, especially those of the household of faith. So we want to be counted in that number, that we're doing something for the people of Yahuwah's Abba, because I'm telling you, when you roll that out, Abba's not quick to forget your labor of love, because you're a part of that. Amen. So when you pray for something, Abba's going to say, well, I remember when they did this, when there was a request. I remember. See, Yah is not quick to forget. That's why His word said He is not quick to forget your labor of love. Not arm twisted, not making you feel bad, but you're giving of a clean heart and a free will to give. Amen. So with this, please watch this video on how to sow here into His Glory Mishkan. Amen. Sister Denise loves that song, and we need to contact Sister Denise. We have to contact Sister Denise to see how she's doing down there. If is she working from home?
Well, I didn't answer all that.
Yeah. Well, we need to check on our widows and orphans and all of that are covered by His Glory and Mishkan community. And I've been working from home for about a week and a half already, because what I do, look, I miss being around people. Okay, that's me. But I'm able to do for my company from home, and my team that we all work from home, because what we do is crucial, especially now since a lot of people are working from home, and the threat of cybercrime and malware and all of that stuff really goes up through the roof, because people are not really thinking about security because they're working from home, and that's when they're the most vulnerable. So yeah, I bless Abba Yahuwah, bless your name Abba Yah, for still getting a paycheck, amen. And we're going to lift up for those people who have lost their positions. Again, I talked about the food service workers, those that are working in the service industries, bartending, all of that.
And your former coworkers.
My former coworkers.
Running man, you're the one that just this week told you that he lost his job at the place you used to be at.
Oh, yeah. So there are people, had to remind me, my mind is going 2 miles an hour. Moore's going to get it. For the people who, are losing positions, it's sad. We want to continue to lift them up, but the government is trying to get a bill passed, and I believe it's going to happen. If you have read it or not, I haven't. See, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't like to do political stuff, but I want to say this. Everyone wants to hem and haw and talk about people in the offices, but see, Yah has a way of doing things, Mora. He has a way of knocking all y'all dividing lines and walls and bridges down, because we're not fighting something separately. We're trying to fight this invisible disease together as one cohesive echad.
Right.
Watch this. COVID-19 ain't discriminating whether you're an independent Democrat or a Republican, okay? It's going to come after you and get your happy hips. It's not stopping to say, well, they're independent, we're not going to touch them, or they're Democrat, we're not going to touch them, or they're Republican. Listen, the government is not being segregated. People in the cabinet are getting this stuff too, okay? So it's airware. Get off of this dividing line, because see, here's the thing, whether you know it or not, instead of complaining, you ought to be praying. I know you don't like me, but that's okay. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to ruffle your feathers via the Ruach HaKodesh. Instead of dividing, let's pray for all of those people who are up there, because it's the Republicans and the Democrats and the Democrats and the Republicans that are trying to come together to get this money out to you, so that you don't go broke or have issues with things. All of these policies are being, listen, all of these policies are getting amended to adjust for this time. Y'all ought to be saying thank you.
I know, right?
Here's something that I read yesterday, because see, I'm always current in the news. The thing is, because I like to be aware of things. I don't like things blindsiding me. They said that right now, but see, I'm in school, so it's not applicable. But y'all that's got them school debt loans, student loans, right now you don't have to pay them.
Right. And some people mortgage payments.
Mortgage payments, some companies, I know Bank of America is withholding, they're stopping mortgage payments right now, because see, wisdom would dictate how you going to pay if you don't have a job.
Right.
How you going to do this? This is not something you did on your own. This is beyond your control. So everyone collectively in the government is thinking about that, and they're all marching together. Now, you got those people in the fringes and the left and the right saying some people need to stop this, some people. I'm like, y'all need to go shut up and sit in the corner somewhere. Sit down. Because right now you're just showing your ignorance and stupidity. Yes, I said it. Calling off things. What are you doing? Instead of you running your flipping mouth, why don't you do something? You're going to sit and complain about the man in the White House. Listen, I'm going to tell you this is going to mess your theology up, but check this out. The president is not Elohim.
Right.
He is not Yahuwah.
Right.
So y'all need to stop looking at him like he is.
Right.
Instead of you bad-mouthing, pray.
Pray.
When the last president was in there, the same thing. I had to pray for him.
Yes.
So why don't you stop bad-mouthing and pray?
Pray.
You ain't helping, none complaining.
Right.
Why don't you be a contributor instead of consumer?
Come on here.
You want to eat up everything and talk out the other side of your mouth. Pray.
Pray.
I know you don't like it, but it's tight, but it's right.
That's right.
Because you're guilty of it. Pray.
Pray.
And the government is trying to get together to where you, which you weren't deserving of, because you're talking about everything. But see, this is not time for, well, I remember when. No, they're doing it for everybody except millionaires, because like what they need it for.
Right.
I'm not killing millionaires. I'm not knocking them. I want to be one day. But because they're in a higher income bracket, it's not really going to affect them. But for yous in a certain income level, if you got a family of 4, you could get up to $3,400 in the next 2 weeks. Let me hear you complain now, because all y'all talking about people in the offices now, when that check come in, you're going to be, oh, thank you. See? And if you're single, you could get up to $1,200. That's $1,200. And that's just in the first round for tax filers. That's just in the first round. If it continues on, they've already built it in for it to happen again in May. You ought to say thank you, y'all.
Amen. Amen.
See? They're thinking about you. Even small businesses have been built into that. People who had no idea that this was going to happen, they're even going to get covered in that package. So instead of us listening to what somebody else says and we haven't checked it for ourselves, why don't you take a time to check it and pray and tell Abba thank you, because this does not have to happen.
Right.
I'm thankful.
Thankful. Thankful.
I'm thankful. They're trying to do something that shows, hey,
Right.
let's look at this. Because if it had been something else, like in 2008, everyone was bailing out the car companies and the banks. And even back then I said, why don't they give that to the
Right.
people where they're going to go out and spend it,
Right.
and it's going to keep things afloat.
Right.
But that was not the mindset of that past administration. But now, hey, give it to the people, because if they get it, once they come out of their houses, guess what's going? See, here's the wisdom. I know you can't go shopping right now. You might be locked down for a couple more weeks. But once that check comes in and and the chains come off and you be free again, what you gonna do? I couldn't spend money for a month. I'm gonna go crazy. It's like it's gonna be a reverse. You know how y'all was lined up in the store to buy toilet paper? Now you're gonna be in there lined up to just go spend money, because you haven't had that opportunity to do it for so long. And what's going to happen to the economy when all the Americans get up out of their house? Going to go up through the roof.
Right.
But see, y'all just look at the here and now. Abba, give us the wisdom and the
Yes.
foresight to see down the road. Instead of looking at things right in front of us, let's look down the road and see.
Yes.
He's going to bring you through, people of y'all. He's going to bring you
Yes,
through.
Thank you. Thank
But see, you
you.
wasn't
Thank
even
you.
planning on this to happen.
Right.
So now people are going to go out to restaurants after this, because people like to cook. But I'm telling you, it's nice to go down and sit down at the table and have somebody serve you every now and again. Amen. Y'all know you're going to be at the fish house. I'm going to be there getting my whiting and my flounders, okay? I'm not going to eat no crab legs and all that, but I'm going to get my flounder. I'm going to pre-chew it and give some to Mora. And it's all going to be good. You're going to go out and get your steak and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to kick up because y'all like to eat. So it's coming back, people of y'all. Just have Abba Yahuwah help you make it through this time.
Amen. Amen.
But they're looking out. They're looking out. They are trying to push that package. He said within 2 weeks. The Treasury Secretary said 2 weeks. So when the Senate hammers out, okay, they're either going to get $1,000 or $1,200. So if they hammer it out to where it's $1,000, a family of 4 will have a total of $3,000. If they hammer it out where a married couple filing jointly gets $1,200 apiece, plus you have 2 kids, that's going to come out to $3,400 for your household. Well, I don't have no children that's in my house. This is my dependents. You're married, right? Yes, we are. Guess what you're going to get? $3,200. Excuse me, $3,400. Is that right? I'm no 24. I can't add. 12 and 12 is 24. So if you don't have any children, you're going to get $2,400. So Yah is still king on the throne. He's looking out for you. He's looking out. But see, right now, there's judges going on.
Right.
But more was reading in that in the word.
Passover.
It's Passover. It's like Passover. We are literally going through Passover, y'all.
Yes.
He's preparing us for a worldwide Passover. Some of y'all need that money. I'm not going to say I don't need it. I'll take it. But tax filers are going to get that. Tax filers are going to get that. Amen. Bless Yah. He's an awesome Yah. And you're going to get it. But high money makers above $1 million, you're not going to get it. It's not like $3,000 is much to you. I'm not saying that because some people might need it at a higher level too. But the way that this package is going to be written, it says millionaires will not get it. It's just the middle class on down that's going to get that. And I don't know if the income is up to, well, what I read in the actual document is a joint couple file, a married couple filing jointly. You can't make more than $150,000 a year filing jointly. To if you make more than that, you won't be able to get that full amount. So all kavod to Yah.
Amen.
We're going to give you that, but like I initially started out, I ain't trying to get political and all that, but y'all need to pray. Pray for the people in the government. We're good. Just to show you how I know you can pray, as much as you bash and you talk about stuff now, flip it. Turn it to praying. I dare you. Watch y'all move. He said, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves. Moore was talking about humbling. Abba's humbling us. Who are you going to call on? The CDC to fix you? I don't have my COVID-19 test. I'm not worried about it, honestly. I'm not worried about it. Again, like I said, how many people have died from all of this worldwide? If it's 9,000 that have died in the world, that is a small percentage. 11,000 in the world. That's a small percentage, people. More people have died from other flus than this.
Yes.
I don't know why this is getting played up like this, though. Maybe it's the way it's transmitting real fast, because people have gotten it and they've come out, but then there are people who have gotten it and have passed away. NBC reporter passed away from it the other day. But there was probably some other underlying things that were going on. That's why they say certain people with compromised immune systems, you have to be careful. There are elderly people that say, keep away from the elderly. I read an elderly man had it, now he's on the heel, and he's older. Bless Yah. So it's how you, what was Moore talking about? Taking care of that temple not made with hands? See, so don't, when we put things on an elderly age, I'm like, yeah, because there's some people who are elderly that are more fit than some of these people who are younger. So don't do that. Don't do the. I'm going to just say this and I'm getting to the word. Yesterday when I was talking to my roofer, because I'm getting a new roof put on, it's 20 years old, so it's time for a reshingle job. He asked me, he said, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? And I said, well, I don't know. How old do you think I look? And he said, hey, you probably late 40s or early 50s. And when I told him how old I was, he was like, what? I don't know. I guess we were talking because he thought he and I were the same age in the same space. And he said, man, he said, I hope when I get to be your age, I look as good as you. I'm like, I know everybody says that. I said, but don't let that fool you. Just because I might not look how old I am don't mean my joints are saying something else. My back, during the break, I said my back is killing me. I know I got to get me a new mattress. I got to get me something because my lower back is like, because bending over. I know I got to stretch and everything. I haven't been in a masseuse and all that. Oh, I just had to cut all of that off. So I know somebody's here that can do that, that know how to push in your lower back there with the hand or something, something like that. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, ooh, I want to start taking. They're acting up in here, Melanie. They're acting up in here right now. So we'll y'all can't see the folk in the congregation, but then they're acting up now. So Mama Sandy, come and get your grandchildren. Amen. But we're praying for all of you. Just be careful. Wash your hands when you're out in public, because despite this, some people still a little nasty. All right? You can carry your little Purell around, and as long as you ain't touching nothing else. wow. I'm telling you, they're out of control. We're going to get into the word right here. So, we're coming on to Pesach. Now, I want to reiterate, people of Yah, the feast of Yahuwah are located in the book of Leviticus or Wayakra, chapter 23. Start at verse 1. That's where the feast of Yahuwah are written. So when you hear churches and all that say, well, we don't, those are Jewish holidays. Where did you get that from? It's in the book of Leviticus. Did we do away with that one too? Last I checked, Leviticus was one of the 5 books of the Torah, the book of instructions. So that applies to you. The reason that you call it Jewish is because there are the Jews that still follow. They've added things and taken away, but they still follow that part of the word. That's why you say that's a Jewish thing. It is not. That's why you say some of these Jewish, that's a Jewish holiday. It is not. There are 7 holiday feasts that Yahuwah has put in his word for all of us to follow. But you're following all these other holidays. He said, you're feasting new moons. He said, I ate them. That's what he said. Because Christmas and Valentine and Easter, yeah, that one's coming up. Easter, those are not holidays that Yahuwah has mandated. That's what man did. Those are not his holy days. So he's not obligated to honor them because he says, I hate your holy days. He said, follow my holy days. And they're not hidden from you. They're in Leviticus. I'm telling you. Tell your friends, your families, your neighbors, your loved ones, your girlfriends, your boy. Tell them. It's right there in the book of Leviticus chapter 23. Churches don't even know about that. They'll just go off of something else. Oh, we're going to celebrate New Year's and we're going to celebrate Christmas. Christmas is not one of those holy days. Mashiach was not born on the 25th of December. If you study, it was, what's his name? Epiphany. Epiphanes, is that his name? Wasn't he the emperor? Oh, I keep on getting... Constantine. Where am I getting Epiphanies from? Constantine was the Roman emperor that moved that date to December 25th to syncretize his pagan worshipers and his Torah believers to make it Mashiach was born on the 25th in a little town of Bethlehem with 3 wise kings from the east and the animals in the Sukkot. When you read the book of Matthew and you read the book of Luke, and you see there's 2 separate time periods there when the angels appeared to the shepherds who were out in the fields by night, and they appeared and start singing Hosanna in the highest. Tonight, a son is born and a child is born and a son is given. Where is he? He's in the town of Bethlehem. How will we know? You're going to go into a Sukkot and you're going to find him wrapped in swaddling clothes. The angels appeared to the shepherds who were working in the fields because the animals were still out in the fields. This is why Mashiach was able to be placed in the Sukkot, in the food trough where the animals eat from, because they had not yet been transferred into the food trough in the Sukkot because it was still warm. Now when you flip over to the book of Luke, you see in the same 2nd chapter that there were kings that came from the east, the Magi, and they brought gifts unto the house. Now, last time I checked, a house and a Sukkot or a manger are 2 different things. The kings came when Mashiach was between 2 years old and a young toddler. All of that did not happen at the same time. The angels appeared to the shepherds. They went to see him in the Sukkot or the food trough or the manger. Then 1.5 years later, here come the wise men from the east, the Magi, and they showed up. Where did they show up at? They showed up at his house. And he was a child then. And then that's when Joseph and Miriam fled to Mitzrayim after the kings left. So you see how y'all got that all mixed up because the world tries to tell you the story, but you just go ahead and slap a manger and 3 kings and all of that stuff inside of a manger, and you say, that's it. That's incorrect. That's not the word of Yah. But churches want to syncretize and bring everything in instead of doing it the way Yah said. They want to do it the way they want. And then when you bring the truth, there's a whole breakout because people are having a fit because you have a truth and you have a lie. Well, we've been doing this all our lives, so we're not about to change. Go for it. Go knock yourself out. Yah has a way of getting you to conform. We're right in conformity right now, aren't we? Being humble. You're going to get locked down in your house. You're going to have to pray now. There's going to be a lot of salvation kicking off. People are going to be saying, save me, y'all, because these family members are driving me crazy. Y'all going to be praying. See, this might be your first goat rodeo, boy, when we was overseas. And we was in the house for 3 days from a super typhoon going on.
There's a whole lot of angry people that came
Boy,
out.
I'm telling you, folk came out, man. But it was just my wife and I and our 2 daughters, you know, they were enjoying that. But the pain of it was when that rain was coming through the walls of the house. Yeah. You got 110-mile-an-hour wind that does not stop. And it's blowing at one side of the house, and the house is made of cement. And then all of a sudden when the water starts seeping through the cement and it's dripping down your wall in the kitchen and the water's coming around your door, your window frames, because 110-mile-an-hour wind is going to force that water in your house. I don't care how sealed your windows are. We got towels all up around there. You're wringing the towels. Your hands are getting red, sometimes bleeding. And then you're in the house. And they weren't, my kids weren't out of order. They had stuff to do, but they liked to hear the wind blowing because it sounded like the cats when the wind is whistling around the door frame and the windows.
Swimming pools, roll by.
Swimming pools, garbage cans blowing down the road. A door. When the eye passed over the island, this was an awesome picture. Yeah. They had a satellite picture of the island that we were on with Typhoon Kirk, and the island we was on was smack dab bullseye inside of the eye of that hurricane. They call them typhoons over there in the Pacific. And when the eye passed over, the sun was out, birds were flying, people came out, and they was looking rough. So what I did, I think about things, you know, I think about aerodynamics. So my cars were parked a certain way in the driveway. So that was because the wind was blowing from a certain direction. So I pointed the face of my car into the wind because it's aerodynamic and it goes over it. Now, if you had your car backwards with the trunk facing into the wind, your back window would have blown out. Because your back window is not aerodynamic forward, it's just for the reciprocal of the aerodynamics. So I had my car facing into the wind. So when that wind changed and we had the eye come over, I turned my cars around. And when the wind picked up in the opposite direction, they were facing right into the wind. That's part of aerodynamic and wind testing that they do on cars when they're in the development stage anyway, how they slice through wind. So there were people who had back windshields blown out. Mine wasn't because I faced the cars in. So I thought about all those things. I got out of the house when the eye was over. They said, don't come out. Like, how long we got for that eye?
Well, Cotton needed to go out.
Yeah, we had to get out. We was cracking up in that 825 square feet.
I said Cotton.
Yeah, and my dog had to go out too. Yeah, get out! So all of that, but then when that storm kicked up, it went from dead calm to 120-mile-an-hour winds. It just went boom, boom, and we were locked in for about 18 hours in that. So Abba is awesome. Yes, so as we're praying, we're going to pray on Tuesday night, and you said something about
if y'all wanted to, even if you can't pray out loud with us, we might do it as a Facebook Live, or we might do it as a broadcast, but we may actually broadcast our prayer on Tuesday.
Yeah, we can do that.
Or if not all of us, then even I can set it up on my laptop.
We can do to get everyone on, because everybody's getting locked down. So what you got? What you stopping? Come on and pray. Support the prayer.
Amen.
Amen. So I'm going to get to this word. We have everything taken care of, producer. Can I get to the word? I'm going to the book of Exodus, Shemoth, chapter 12. And I asked the producer, Maura, I said, you have the mouse pointer moving around in the scripture.
It did it last week. It just, I don't know what happened the week.
But they said, I'm here. So,
yes, they did. They told me that too, which is why I'm not sitting over.
Oh, okay. Well, That's what they did. So we're going to put up on your monitor Shemoth, Exodus chapter 12, starting at verse 12. Then I'm going to flip over to the book of Numbers, chapter 9. But I want to get to this because we're coming up on the Pesach. So what we want to get you to first is understanding that since because we get those notifications in email when they're walking up and down the land of Israel to look for the barley that is in the green. When that first slivered moon is sighted, then that means that we are now in the first month of Abba Yahuwah's new year. If they went out and barley was not sighted in the green, then we'd have to do another month, which would be 13. Then we'd have to wait till the next moon. But the barley has already been sighted. Bless y'all.
Yes,
so we're
amen.
going to start once we see that sliver in Israel and we get the notification that boom. So we're looking at 25 or 26 March. My wife's birthday is on the 25th of March, praise Yah. Amen. So that night in Israel, they're 8 hours ahead of us. So when it's sighted in Israel, then when it's nighttime here on the same day, we see that sliver. But the sliver's been sighted over there, then we will start the count to the 14th day. And then the 15th day begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we got some bread up in here, y'all, so we're going to have to eat that leaven.
Amen.
We
Amen.
had cut off bread, but now with this in place quarantining and stuff, you got to have a little something to eat a sandwich with. But we got that heavy, my daughter called it birdseed bread because all these little nuts and everything's are in it. So we eat that whole grain wheat bread, not that white bleached stuff that don't do nothing for you. It's a little tougher to eat, but you know it's good. I like it as toast. Amen. So let's look at verse number 12 there. So producer, bring that up to the monitor so Brother Eric can see it. Sister Melanie can see it. Amen. Elder Nelson can see it. Brother George can see it. Praise Yah for all of you watching. Next week we're going to be right here again. Bless Yah.
Amen.
Still pressing on with the word of the Most High Yahuwah Zavaot. Now just because y'all in the house don't mean I'm going to hold you long. Yeah. Let's scroll up to verse 12, please. Producer got a little fast on the finger there, so it's coming back. Exodus chapter 12, verse 12. Or Shemoth chapter 12, verse 12. And here we go. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast, and against all the Elohai, or the little gods of Mitzrayim, I will execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. As we talked about last week over in this place here, we see that Yah is telling them that what he's going to do on this night. Because back up in verse 1, he's telling Moshe, prepare the people, grab a lamb or a ram from the first year, and make sure they don't have any blemishes or irregularities, because this night, this is what I'm going to do. Just to reiterate, notice he says he's going to pass through the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim. So does that include Hebrews? Yes.
In the land.
Does that include Egyptians? Yes. Does that include all of the other peoples that were there? Yes. So Abba Yahuwah wasn't segregating here. He said all of the firstborn in the land. So there was a requirement that had to happen for that not to happen in your house. So in verse number 13 it reads, and the blood shall be for you a mark upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, Pesach. And the plague of death shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Mitzrayim. So if you took that goat or that lamb and you checked it on the 10th day of the month, and by the 14th day you had to cook it Well, when you killed it, you took that blood and you put it across the doorpost and the lintel. So Yah said to do this. So when I come and I see the blood, I'm going to pass over you. Basically, you are exempt from your firstborn dying. And verse 14 reads, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to Yahuwah throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. And I just want to stop there at verse 14. I'm going to come back to 15, but what I want to do now is I want to go over to the book of Leviticus chapter 23. And I'm going to start at verse number 1 of Leviticus or Vayakra 23, because I want you to see all of these things, that they're not being pulled out of the air, but they are actually in the word of Yahuwah Zavaot. So that's the book of Leviticus chapter 23, and we are going to start at verse number 1. Oh, look at that producer doing all kind of stuff.
It never left.
Huh.
Just remember.
And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahuwah, which you shall proclaim to be holy assemblies. Even these are my feasts. Whose feasts are they? Yah's feasts. If it's not written here in Leviticus chapter 23, it is not Yah's feast.
That's right, that's right.
He said, I hate your holy days, your new moons, and all them things that you made up. But these are the feasts that I created from the beginning. And before there was ever a Torah, all of the patriarchs, all of the people since Adam and Hawa, or Adam and Eve, they followed the same feasts. Abba just didn't concoct these after this stuff happened. They were doing it from the beginning. This is how do you know this, Moray? Because remember when Cain and Abel had to offer up a sacrifice to Yah? Mm-hmm. Do you think that that was just a first-time event that, well, Cain didn't understand, so he got smoked? But no, Abel got smoked by his brother Cain because, well, Cain didn't probably know how to do it. People, listen, don't let these church folk lie to you. These brothers have been doing this forever. But one day Cain decided, I'm going to give Yah what I feel like giving to him. That's why when you go and read the book of Malachi, starting at chapter 1, instead of going to chapter 3 like churches like to do and said, how will a man rob Yah except through his tithes and offering? You need to back up to chapter number 1 and read all the way up to chapter 3, and you'll understand some things. So here, and Yahuwah, verse 1, spoke to Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yahuwah, which you shall proclaim to be holy assemblies, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Shabbat of rest. Who is Yahuwah talking to here? He's talking to the children of Israel. Guess what? The children of Israel had 12 tribes. There's a lot of folk in them tribes. Not just the tribe of Yehuda, but all 12. This is not a Jewish thing. This is a children of Israel. And you shall put the name of Yahuwah Zavaot upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. That's in the Aaronic blessing. He didn't say, and you shall put my name upon the children of Yahuda. Yahushua HaMashiach descended from the tribe of Yehuda, but Yah said, put my name upon the children of Israel. That's everyone that belongs to him, through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. 6 days you're going to work, but the 7th day, verse 3, is Shabbat of rest, a holy assembly. We shall proclaim in their appointed times. Now, verse number 5, this is where in the book of Leviticus, Abba starts breaking down, because he had to cover his Shabbat first, because remember in the book of Exodus, on the Mount Zion, where Moshe went up there into the mountain to receive the 10 instructions, he said, honor my Shabbat and keep it holy. Well, in the book of Genesis Bereshit, he said on the seventh day he rested and he separated, he hallowed it, and he made it holy. That was from the beginning there. So here he is repeating himself in the first month, about his Shabbat. This is what he's saying, do this. Well, here in verse number 5, this is breaking down what he said to the children of Israel in the land of Mitzrayim prior to the Exodus. He said, in the first month, on the 14th day of the first month at evening is Yahuwah's Pesach, or Passover. I'm reading it from the Et Sefer. That's why some of the words are different, but it's saying the same thing. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, between the evening is the Passover to Yahuwah. Now, what it's not giving you there is the 14th day, but on the 10th day of the first month, that's when you go out and get your lamb, and you examine that lamb for 4 days. That's why on the 14th day, that's the Passover, that's when you kill it. So for those 4 days, you're examining the lamb, you're making sure it doesn't have any blemishes, there's no problems with it. So you use that 4 day to observe that lamb. So when you kill the lamb and you drain the blood, you understand, hey, there was no blemish on the lamb. Abba's going to receive the blood on the doorpost and the lintel. But right here is just giving you a high level view. This is what you do. Verse number 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is in the feast of matzah unto Yahuwah. 7 days you must eat matzah, or unleavened bread, made by fire. Verse number 7. And the first day you shall have a holy assembly. You shall do no servile work therein, meaning you won't be working. Well, ain't this a blip? Mora, ain't this a blip? We're all home. We're all working and what is it, self-imposed quarantine and all that kind of stuff. So this year, Yahuwah is something else. You don't have to take no PTO. You're already home. You're going to have a holy assembly. Verse number 8. And you shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah 7 days. And the 7th day is a holy assembly. You shall do no servile work. And then so basically the first day and the 7th day. He said, this what you gonna do. Now that's out of the book of Leviticus chapter 23. And I just read from verse 1 to verse 7. So this is just talking about the Pesach and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And you can read the rest for the next feast to come up. So just, if this might be your first time seeing this or opening up your word to that, that's where it is. That's how we know the Feast of Yahuwah are not a secret. It's just that people don't read to see them. We thought that we just go and look at the Gregorian calendar and we see Easter coming up, that's that. And then we see Good Friday, and when you learn how to do math and you add Friday to Sunday morning, that doesn't come up to 3 days and 3 nights. But yet, we already got folks buying their Cadbury chocolate eggs and getting their Easter grass and waiting for Peter Cottontail to come hopping down the bunny trail laying chocolate eggs. The art of learning is repetition, so every year it's going to be the same thing until he comes again. Let's go back to the book of Shemoth, Exodus. No. Let's, instead of going to Exodus, let's go over to the book of Numbers, Bemidbar in Hebrew, chapter 9. And we'll start at verse number 1. So Bemidbar, or Numbers in English, chapter number 9 and verse 1. Oh, they got these slides going on. Look at that. Wow. praise y'all for this because we want you to ensure that you are getting this word. Verse 9, chapter 9, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai on the first month of the second year. This is the first month of the second year that they're in the wilderness there. After they were coming out of the land of Mitzrayim or Egypt, saying, let the children of Israel also keep the Pesach at his appointed time. On the 14th day of this month, at evening, ye shall keep it in his appointed time, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof, you shall keep it. And Moshe spoke to the children of Yisrael that they should keep the Pesach. So the first Pesach they kept, but this is the second Pesach in the wilderness that they're keeping here. And they kept the Pesach on the 14th day of the first month at evening in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe, so did the children of Israel. Now watch this. This is a little backstory in verse number 6. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man. See, this is giving you a little instruction here if you miss it. That they could not keep the Pesach on that day. And they came before Moshe and before Aharon the priest on that day. And those men said unto them, we are defiled by the dead body of a man. Because remember, if you were in a place of a dead person or you touched them, you were considered unclean. And if that happened during the Pesach, you could not partake. So Abba always has a ram in the bush. Wherefore, we are kept back that we may not offer an offering of Yahuwah in his appointed season among the children of Israel. In verse 8, and Moshe said unto them, stand still, and I will hear what Yahuwah will command concerning you. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if any man of you or of your posterity, meaning your family, your mishpachah, shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Pesach unto Yahuwah. The 14th day of the second month at evening, they shall keep it, and shall eat it with matzah and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it until morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of Pesach, they shall keep it. But the man that is clean and is not in a journey, and forbears to keep the Pesach, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of Yahuwah in his appointed season. That man shall bear his sin. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Pesach unto Yahuwah, according to the ordinance of the Pesach, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do, shall he have one ordinance for both the stranger and for him that was born in the land. So basically, what is Yahuwah saying here? If a stranger is there, and he performed the Pesach of Yahuwah, you shall do it according to the instruction of Pesach and according to his right ruling. You have one instruction, the word says law here, but you have one Torah both for the stranger and the native of the land. So don't give me that stuff. Well, I'm not this, so I can't partake. If you're a follower of Yahuwah, you'll partake of it. And if you can't make the first month, then Yahuwah has provision to do it in the second month. But we understand what that is. Now, if you are able to do it in the first month on the 14th day of the month, but you don't, then Yah says, I got something for you. So it would behoove you to partake of the Pesach in the first month, unless you are on a journey far away or you've been around a dead body, you can observe it in the second month on the 14th day. See, Abba Yahuwah has provision for everything. Don't try to shortcut him. Don't try to shortchange him. He got it all under control.
Right.
He's got it. He got it all under control. That's just making an excuse. So you can get your lamb, and remember we read that this is a memorial. This is a memorial in remembrance. Remember, Yeshua was the ultimate sacrifice. So when you come up in your scripture, and we call it in the church or in the religious community Palm Sunday, where Yeshua walked and he had his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, and they threw all the palm fronds out and covered across where he was riding on the foal through the town, and they cried out, Hosanna, Hosanna, who comes in the name of the Most High. That's his triumphal entry. That was on coming up before he was put on the execution stake. So all of this time is reflective. So what happened where we're just reading in the Tanakh and in the Torah portion, when we get to the Brit Hadashah, Yeshua keeps up the same practice. He was observed for 4 days. When he entered into Jerusalem to when he was put on the execution stake. So back here in the ancient time, when they took that sheep, they observed it for 4 days. In Yeshua's time, he came into Jerusalem, and they observed him for 4 days, and that's when he was taken to the judgment hall and condemned, and then he was put on the execution stake. All of that stuff happened at the same time. So what happens with Pesach? This is not a time for you to invite all of your friends. That's not what Pesach is about. Pesach is a private party for believers of Yah.
Amen.
Sukkot is where you invite everybody to celebrate. Pesach is for believers in Yeshua who are following his teaching and his instructions. That means you're following and observing his appointed holy days. Out of the book of Leviticus chapter 23. Yeshua did it when you're reading in the Brit Hadashah, or what you call the New Testament, which is actually Hebrew for renewed covenant. Yeshua did everything that they did here. He did it. He observed all the feasts. He did. Why would he go off and do something else? He is the Word made flesh, so that wouldn't be true if the Word was saying this is what we do. Well, when the flesh came, the flesh should do the same thing that the Word said in the beginning. That's what Yeshua did. He did his Word. So he didn't do anything off the cuff or something. Well, that's not what it said over here. Yeshua exemplified it in the flesh. That's what we're supposed to do.
Amen.
I know some of us might have a problem with it. But it's Yah. What you getting all mad for? And I understand everyone doesn't understand that. You know, all preachers and everyone haven't gotten to that place. But as you hear this now, you are held accountable. What you gonna do? See, Yah loves you so much that he's giving this word, so you're getting pulled out of all of the syncretism. You're being pulled out of all of the religion. He wants a relationship with you. He doesn't want you passing through all these doctrines and dogmas that he has nothing to do with. Just like he said, I hate your feast. I hate your moons and your Sabbaths and all your holy days that you wrote, but yet you won't honor the ones that are in my word. Yah honors his word. He don't honor your stuff.
Right.
He honors his word. So get in alignment with his word, amen? Just like I will not fear. He encamps an army around me. I want that song to play again. Get to more. Put that song back on by Donald Lawrence. He is our protector. So in the time of all of this that's going on, and things are going to happen more, so don't think this is it and we're all good. No, things are going to step up more. Just know that he is your shalom. In the midst of all of this, have your stuff be prepared but hold on to his unchanging hand. Mama Sandy, you know how that song goes, hold to his hand, Yah's unchanging hand. Build your hopes on things eternal. Hold to Yah's unchanging hand. So as we close today, we speak the shalom of Yahuwah Zavaot upon you, because we're going to be victorious. We don't have any fear. We're going to march and move onward and upward. The kingdom of Yahuwah Zavaot is on a forceful advance. We are taking dominion over the darkness, and we're tearing down the works of the enemy's camps. If Yah's people would come together and pray, and we're going to pray again on Tuesday night. We'll send out information if we're doing live or whatever to get you on. But you know what? Watch this. When the saints come to worship, that's when deliverance will take place. When the saints go down and worship, all of Hashatan's powers are erased. If we come together with one mind and one accord, watch what we're going to do in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. All you have to do is trust him. I believe if the people of Yah got together and prayed and bound up this thing, just like we did over there, we prayed over Maury Elijah's place. He prayed, those locusts went another way.
Amen.
I'm like, Mama Sandy, the locusts went another way. Yah keeps showing us that, yeah, I'm still in control if my people would just worship me and trust me. So he's making it to where he's squeezing us to where, okay, we got to call on Yah now. We can't, we don't have any more elbow room. We're being squeezed now. There's those rolling pins with those spikes in it, but you still gonna come out on the other side and make some bread, huh? Amen. So we're gonna pray, and we're gonna bless Yah. Abba Yahuwah, I bless your name, and I thank you for the word that has come forth today. It's a little tight. It causes us to think. Some of us still have a little anxiety. We're worried about things. Abba, we're still human. But Abba, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Abba Yahuwah, we ask that you would give us shalom in this time, and that we would hold on to your unchanging hand. That we would put fear, worry, and doubt under our feet, that anxiety would go under our feet, that we would pray for those, Abba, who have lost jobs, that are in the prisons and who are sick in the nursing homes and their family members can't get in to touch them. Pray your hedge of protection. The blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, just like it was in the doorpost in the lintel. Abba, when you see the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach over the situation, you pass over it. So, Abba, we pray that we would have the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach on us, even as we go out into the public, if we have to go into the supermarket or wherever. The blood that shall never lose its power shall be on us. So even when we're walking in the midst of this contagion, Abba, you're passing over, and it does not have any effect on us, Abba. Knowing that it's not us ourselves, but it is the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, the word of Yah, that you would keep us from all harm and keep us free from all pain. Abba, that's what we pray. And that's what we believe you're going to do, because you said it. And you don't turn back on your word, but you honor your word. All of those that are sequestered in their homes, Abba, again, shalom. Shalom, Abba Yahuwah. During this time, Abba, I pray that people would draw nigh unto you, that they realize, well, where else do we go? Help them to look up, not to look at man, not to look at what they can do. Abba, help us to look to you. We will lift up our eyes unto the hills, from where our help comes from. Our help comes from Yahuwah, the Most High. Protect our family across the country and around the world. Abba Yahuwah, we're not just being touched here with this, but everywhere. Have mercy, O Yah. Have mercy on us. We cry out to you, Abba, to hear our prayer, O Yah, and attend unto our plea. From the ends of the earth, O Yah, we will cry out to thee. Because our hearts right now, Abba, are getting overwhelmed. So lead us to the rock, Yeshua, which is higher than us all. And when we get to that rock, we get to our shalom. So we baruch your name, Abba. We thank you for everything here now in advance and what you're going to do. Our feet are shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, that we would be steadfast and unmovable, always abounding in the works of Yahuwah Zavaot. And we give your name the kavod. Baruch Hashem Yahushua HaMashiach. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Zavaot. So be it. Amen and amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Glory.